first. From the US to the DR, yeah, you know we coast to coast. India, South America, you know we had to go. All in Africa, Barbados, and in Ecuador. I know they want us to stop, but for the Lord we do the most. Yeah, this the mission. Like Peter and Andrew, yeah, we fish. All these prophecies coming true, but you still wish. We can get the kingdom together if you just listen and play your position, cause you know it's wartime. The Lord ordained all of this here before time. John 10 and 20 said we heard that voice now. Rising up, you see them God, don't get scared now. We on their head now, yeah, cause it's wartime. The Lord ordained all of this here before time. John 10 and 20 said we heard that voice now. Rising up, you see them gods, don't be scared now. We on their head now.
I apply pressure like Clyde Drex on more fly than a fly guess. It's wartime, you borderline on the northern signs, most high stretch you out. Destroying angels roar inside of me, please let me out. The prophet spit the spot, now hit your block, now it's a drought. 1,000 deep, we on your street, we hitting every house. We are the sons of God, our father's business, what we bout. We really live this camp like we ain't doing this for clout. Got orders from the bishop, make them bastards stop. We going lamb in Amsterdam, hit Berlin with a whirlwind. I'm burning heat to Germany, this prophecy make worlds in. You want a kingdom, take theirs in. Yahweh said we next up, it's wartime. Don't let us spiritually, we wreck stuff.
Wartime. The Lord ordained all of this here before time. John 10 and 20 said we heard that voice now. Rising up, you see them God, don't get scared now. We on their head now, yeah, cause it's wartime. The Lord ordained all of this here before time. John 10 and 20 said we heard that voice now. Rising up, you see them gods, don't be scared now. We on their head now.
Drew the blood.
No, we don't fold up on the pressure. We go harder than we ever did before.
Yeah, look.
The sons of God, we gon' take the kingdom back. That's a fact, that's what I know.
That's what I know. That's what I know.
We in your city, state to state, place to place. Yeah, you know we on the road.
We on the road. We on the road.
Can't stop this word from getting out. I know they worried by now. That's too much smoke.
That's too much smoke.
Yeah, going in. This ain't no religion, we born in. Can't keep these laws, you can't join in. We ready for war, we are army. Open carry these precepts. No, I'm not trying to conceal them. The man of position behind you long. Now it's time to reveal them. Time to get in line, we at the finish line. Why you niggas thinking that you got plenty of time? When them chariots start flying in, don't be the one who getting left behind. Cause you ain't wanna put in no work. Blaming all on these curses, ignoring all these verses. I have sinning on purpose, following after these churches. Don't get it twisted, we bout business. Don't just talk about it, we live it. What's a man without a vision? What's a plan if you can't finish? Can't help if you don't get it. Can't be moving off of my feelings. Maybe one day God gon' change your spirit. Lord willing. No, we don't fold up under pressure. We go harder than we ever did before.
Yeah, look.
The sons of God, we gon' take the kingdom back. That's a fact, that's what I know.
That's what I know. That's what I know.
We in your city, state to state, place to place. Yeah, you know we on the road.
We on the road. We on the road.
Can't stop this word from getting out. I know they worried by now. That's too much smoke.
That's too much smoke. That's too much smoke.
I'm a G, that's a God, rated in the book of Psalms. I'm a lion in the heart, I put in work, I punch the clock. I go hard on the yard, I'm a big dog when I bark. I go ham on your bastard, stick a fork in him, he done. In your city, in the project,
know. That's what I know.
We in your city, state to state, place to place. Yeah, you know we on the road.
We on the road. We on the road.
Can't stop this word from getting up. I know they worried by now. That's too much smoke.
That's too much smoke. That's too much smoke.
Isaiah Judah.
Hey, look. That truth springing up all through the earth right now. And they don't like this. Nah, they don't like when they see them boots coming through their city. You know what I'm saying? They don't like this true prophets of God. We back. And that's a fact.
They know we some gods, they don't like it. I know, no, they can't stop this truth, they hearing it right outside they door. Yeah, we gon' bring the noise, I know they heard we coast to coast. Now we ain't trying to be cocky, but these laws that we gon' boast. Yeah, Christ he coming back with that fire, ooh, I swear they toast. I can see the fear on their face, it look like they seen a ghost. Yeah, Babylon getting destroyed, all I can say is whoa. Yeah, that pressure building up at any time, it's about to blow. We got plenty ammo, but our weapons ain't carnal. Gotta fight these demons off, cause you know they ain't armor. You gon' reap what you sow, where I'm from, that's just karma. Tribe of Judah, on my line, yeah, I been in that jungle. On my way to the kingdom on this tight rope, trying to make my way out the dark, that's what the light for. The destruction of my enemies, that's the light for. Trying to go against my God, you suicidal. Think we got them nervous, they clowns just like circus. I done found my purpose, now I put them in verses. We pull up on churches like I bet you ain't heard this. Your pastor, he don't teach the truth, he ain't showing you the curses. Can't ignore the feeling, oppression, it got me mad. I'm not out the spirit right now, I'm just in my bag. I'm just on this ride for a little while, trying not to crash. And we gon' rule this earth again, one day might I add. They know we some gods, they don't like it. I know, no, they can't stop this truth, they hearing it right outside they door. Yeah, we gon' bring the noise, I know they heard we coast to coast. Now we ain't trying to be cocky, but these laws that we gon' boast. Yeah, Christ he coming back with that fire, ooh, I swear they toast. I can see the fear on their face, it look like they seen a ghost. Yeah, Babylon getting destroyed, all I can say is whoa. Yeah, that pressure building up at any time, it's about to blow.
If you with us, then you with us. If you ain't, you hate Christ. And it ain't no way around it, you gon' have to pay the price. Roll the dice if you wanna, you will never see the light. And all I do is speak the truth, cause it make my teeth white. Israelites run the city, yeah, we got them all shook. And we ain't committing violence, we just reading out the book. You can humble down and learn, but if you scoff, you getting cooked. So repent and be converted, for you get your life took. By this weapon that we toting, it ain't physical, it's spiritual. Don't get chopped when that sword out, that's how his wrath get poured out. You can think it's a game if you want, whenever you see us in purple and gold. And we ain't no Q-Dogs and no Power Rangers. Judah blow, you better let them know.
They know we some gods, they don't like it. I know, no, they can't stop this truth, they hearing it right outside they door. Yeah, we gon' bring the noise, I know they heard we coast to coast. Now we ain't trying to be cocky, but these laws that we gon' boast. Yeah, Christ he coming back with that fire, ooh, I swear they toast. I can see the fear on their face, it look like they seen a ghost. Yeah, Babylon getting destroyed, all I can say is whoa. Yeah, that pressure building up at any time, it's about to blow.
I ain't been studying like I'm supposed to. I ain't been doing what I'm.
Shalom, shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ bless. Welcome to another edition of History in the AM. All praises to the Most High God. Let me see this. Okay. Yeah, I was watching the class earlier. I was like, that thing ain't really lined up with the picture I was supposed to be. All right, all praise to the Most High. So, yes, so it's been a long time since we've been able to continue with the Kings of Israel series. All right. So, you know, I hate the. Oh, yeah, I'm Captain Emmanuel, IUIC Arkansas, by the way. All praise to the Lord. I hate to do a whole class trying to recap where we left off at. So, All I'm gonna say is go back and find part 1 and make sure you watch that. Take good notes because it's a lot. This was a turbulent time in the nation of Israel for both kingdoms. So it's a lot of details and prophecies being fulfilled at that time and things of that nature. So you gotta make sure you watch part 1 again if you already did, but it's been like a whole month. So you're gonna have to watch that again, all right? And then you'll be able to fully understand this one. But I'm gonna try my best to do a semi recap and catch us up to where you can comprehend as you listen. I know a lot of people, they play this on their way to work or while they getting up in the morning, you know what I'm saying, getting themselves together, gathering their wits or whatnot. So when you get a chance, in order to fully comprehend it, you gotta go watch part 1. All right? But Lord's willing, you know, the purpose of these, get Romans 15 verse 4. The purpose of these classes is for us to glean from, to pull lessons from, you understand, and apply it to today as far as wisdom. All right, read what you got.
The book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
Right, so these things are written for our learning, all right, written for us to learn from as lessons, all right, life lessons from our forefathers, all right, so that's what we're going to get from the kings of, from history in the AM period, from the Bible period. But the Kings of Israel series is for us to put in a proper scope as why the kingdom fell, all right, and how to avoid such a thing for us in these last days, trying to restore the nation of Israel, all right? So, y'all know how I do. I try to get y'all dates to line up with these kings, all right? So for Bakai, write down 752 to 732 BC. He was the king of the northern kingdom at this time that we covering. All right, so Pekah of the northern kingdom was 752 to 732 BC, and Ahaz of the southern kingdom reigned from 735 BC to 716 BC. All right, so we're going to open up with Isaiah chapter 8, verse 6. This is what we left off last time, all right? Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 6.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 8 and verse 6.
So this, the name of the class is Remaliah's son versus Ahaz. Remaliah's son is Pekah. Get that real quick in Isaiah 7. Let's read that first. Isaiah chapter 7, and I believe it's verse 9. Let me hear that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 7 and verse 9. In the head of Ephraim is Samaria.
So the head, meaning the capital of Ephraim, is Samaria. All right, that's where the capital was. That's where the throne was. Go ahead.
In the head of Samaria is Remaliah, son.
Read it again.
In the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son.
In the head, meaning the king that sits on the throne in Samaria, is Remaliah's son. Who is Remaliah's son? Pekah. Go ahead.
If ye will not believe, surely ye shall not be established.
All right, so now let's read Isaiah chapter 8, verse 6. So Remaliah's son is making reference to Pekah, who was king over the northern kingdom. And remember, he got the throne. He didn't get the throne through lineage or birthright or anything like that. The northern kingdom had been jacked up the line to the throne. He got it through conspiring. He was the captain in the king's guard, and he conspired against the king. He got the throne by treachery. All right? So keep that in mind. But it was a war between him and the southern kingdom king Ahaz. So the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom was at war. And each Remaliah's son Pekah of the northern kingdom joined forces with the bordering nation who the northern kingdom was at war with for the past few generations. He joined forces with them against his brothers of the southern kingdom. All right? So that's what's going on during this time. Like I said, you gotta watch part 1 to get the full, understanding of, how that is what I'm saying, how that came about. All right? But that's what's going on right here. So read Isaiah chapter 8, verse 6.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 8 and verse 6.
Go ahead.
For so much as this people refuseth the waters of Shiloah that go softly.
Read it again.
For so much as this people refuseth the waters of Shiloah that go softly.
So this people is making reference to the people of Judah, right? They refuse the waters of Shiloh that go softly. That's making reference to the rulership in the land of Judah. Watch this. Go ahead.
And rejoiceth in Rezin, in Remaliah's son.
So the people was rejoicing in Rezin and Remaliah's son. Interesting. So remember, Remaliah's son is Pekah of the northern kingdom, and Rezin is the king of Syria. They are coming against the southern kingdom. So how were the people of Judah rejoicing in them? We touched on it last time, but pull up the Bible Hub real quick. Pull up the Bible Hub, Isaiah 8, 6.
The Bible Hub, Isaiah 8 and 6.
Scroll down. All right, read that.
Elias Scott's commentary for English readers. For as much as this people refuseth the waters of Shiloah, grammatically, the words this people might seem to refer to Judah, and suggest the thought that the tyranny of Ahaz had made him so unpopular that his subjects welcomed the invaders.
That is what?
His subjects welcomed the invaders.
So the people in the land grew such disdain for Ahaz, and we gonna get into why. Because Ahaz was the son of Uzziah. Uzziah was a king for the southern kingdom, just like he was reigning during the time of Jeroboam of the northern kingdom, Jeroboam II. What those two kings did was expand the borders of Israel to damn near what it was during the time of David and Solomon. So it was a very flourishing, successful, prosperous time for both kingdoms. Even though we was divided, we was expanding our borders to what was promised to us, to our forefathers, right? So when Ahaz got into power, it started to decrease, and the people wasn't feeling the way his manner of rulership. You understand? So they was ready for a change, and the agenda of Pekah in Syria was to plant a different king there. You understand? And we went into that. We touched on that in part 1. So you just gonna have to go back and watch that. So go back to the commentary. So basically, the people of Judah was rooting for that. They grew so much disdain for Ahaz that they became in favor of the northern kingdom's agenda to overthrow Judah. Go ahead.
On this view, Ahaz sought the alliance with Tiglath-Pileser as against his own subjects, no less than against Syria or Ephraim.
So it says Ahaz sought the alliance with Tiglath-Pileser, who was the king of Assyria. And that's another thing, black people. I remember my brother tried to give me a breakdown about Assyria, like with Assyria and Assyria being the same thing, because they sounded like, no, two totally different nations. All right? Two totally different. They just got the same last 5 letters. Syria and Assyria, they two totally different nations. All right? Syria was Aram. Aram was the son of Shem. All right? There was a Shemite nation who Abraham was related to. I believe it was Abraham's great uncle or something. All right? That's where he dwelt at. Before the Lord, brought him to the land of Canaan. So that nation, Syria, always bordered the northern kingdom. That's why it was always wars between Syria and the northern kingdom, just like Judah always warred with Moab, Ammon. Now I'm thinking about Gad now. Judah always war with the Philistines and Edom because they bordered the land of Judah. That's how northern kingdom was with Syria. All right. So, Tiglath-Pileser was of Assyria, which was up there by the Euphrates River. All right. Way up there. So that's who Ahaz of the southern kingdom went to for assistance against not only the Pekah of the northern kingdom in Syria, but also the rebels in his own kingdom. He went to the heathen to assist them from the rebels in Judah and the northern kingdom in Syria that was banded together against him. All right? Not to the Lord. Even though Isaiah, like we went over last time, Isaiah was telling Ahaz to trust in the Lord. What they counsel that they trying to come up with is not going to succeed. He didn't want to trust in the Lord. He went to Assyria, for he put his faith in Assyria and not the Lord. So keep that in mind. Go back to the commentary. Keep reading.
He was as Ferdinand of Naples falling back on Austria to protect him against Garibaldi and Victor Emmanuel.
Right. So he gives the commentator person gives him a more recent historical reference to understand what's going on from the biblical perspective. All right, go ahead.
What line was the prophet to take? Was he to take the side of the king?
So was Isaiah to take the side of the king Ahaz? Go ahead.
Or that of his rebellious subjects who were ready to sacrifice their independence?
Read.
As it is, he sides with neither.
Isaiah didn't side with either one. Read.
And has a warning for each.
So Isaiah not only warned Ahaz and admonished Ahaz, but he's also right here where we reading at is admonishing the people of Judah that are rejoicing in Rezin and Remaliah's son Pekah, rejoicing in their plot to overthrow the kingdom of Judah. He's warning them. Go ahead.
Each is running blindly into destruction. The prophet.
So the people of Judah was running blindly into destruction because the northern kingdom's agenda was not of God. It was wicked as hell. But Ahaz seeking alliance with Assyria was also not of God. So they was both headed for destruction. All right? That's what Isaiah's warning them both, Ahaz and the people of Judah. Read.
The prophet could hardly have blamed the people of Syria in Israel for following their own kings. But it was for him.
So as far as the Syrians in the northern kingdom, it's like, okay, yeah, they going to follow their king's agenda, right? Go ahead.
But it was for him a strange and monstrous thing that Judah should follow their example.
So it was strange and monstrous for Judah to follow the example of the northern kingdom, the treachery. You understand the willingness to rebel against their own kingdom. That was strange and monstrous. Go ahead.
We must remember, too, that in spite of the weakness and wickedness of Ahaz, the prophet's hopes rested on the house of David.
And Ahaz was of the house of David. So remember, all the prophecies and promises was pertaining to the house of David as far as the scepter being in Judah. So at the end of the day, yeah, Ahaz wicked, but this is the lineage. This is our hope as the nation of Israel, and the people of Judah was willing to throw that out the window and root for the northern kingdom to cast out the seed of David from the throne. So the prophet like, hell no, what the hell is this? All right, the Lord got something for y'all. Go ahead.
In that Hezekiah was already old enough to justify that hope.
Right, and Ahaz's son Hezekiah was already old enough for the people to be like, okay, Ahaz wicked, but we got Hezekiah. But that wasn't the case. Go ahead.
The waters of Shiloh that go softly, issuing from the slope between Moriah and Zion, fast by the oracles of God.
That's why I said they refused the waters of Shiloh, right? Because that was Judah, you understand, being in rulership. they was against that, and they was for the northern kingdom's plot to overthrow the kingdom of Judah. All right, they became so disdainful towards Ahaz that they was willing to give up the seat of David on the throne for the northern kingdom's political agenda with Syria. All right, so let's go back to Isaiah chapter 8. Read verse 6 one more time.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 8 and verse 6.
Go ahead.
For so much as this people refuseth the waters of Shiloah that go softly, and rejoice in Rezin, in Remaliah's son.
Right, so this people is talking about the people of Judah giving up on King Ahaz, giving in to the northern kingdom in Assyria's plot. Now hold that, get 2 Chronicles 28 and verse 16. Go ahead.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 28 and verse 16. At that time did King Ahaz send unto the kings of Assyria to help him.
So when the northern kingdom banded together with Syria, this is what Ahaz did. He joined with the king of Assyria to help him against Syria and northern kingdom, as well as his rebellious subjects in the land. Remember that. So now go back to Isaiah chapter 8. Let's read verse 7.
The book of Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 7.
Come on.
Now therefore, behold, the Lord bringeth up upon them the waters.
Them here is the people of Judah. So behold, because they want to rejoice in Remaliah's son in Rezin, the northern kingdom in Syria, the Lord is going to bring upon them the what?
Bring upon them the waters of the rivers, strong and many.
Come on.
Even the king of Assyria.
Even who?
The king of Assyria.
Now wait a minute. So Ahaz is joining with the king of Assyria to go against the northern kingdom, but the Lord is saying that he's going to bring upon the people of Judah the king of Assyria. So, wait a minute. Watch this. Go ahead.
In all his glory.
And
he shall come upon over all his channels.
Read.
And go over all his banks.
Go ahead.
And he shall pass through Judah.
So, just in case you thought I was lying, Assyria, because I know we think Assyria, we think about what they did to the northern kingdom. The Lord also used them to judge Judah. Why? Because Judah was going to hell off. Ahaz and the people. And we're going to go into how Ahaz was going to hell off, right? We're trying to ban with Assyria. But as we seeing right here, the people of Judah was willing to cast off the seed of David and give in to the scheme and plot of the northern kingdom in Syria. So the Lord is going to use Assyria to judge them. Go ahead.
He shall overflow and go over.
Come on.
He shall reach even to the neck, and the stretching out of his wings shall fill the breadth of the land. Oh, Emmanuel.
All right, so go to Psalm chapter 55 and verse 20. So how is this going to work? If Ahaz is going to Assyria for help, and Ahaz is the king of Judah, how is Assyria going to jack up Judah? Watch this. Psalms 55, verse 20.
The book of Psalms, chapter 55 and verse 20.
Come on.
He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him.
Read.
He hath broken his covenant.
So obviously for Assyria to join an agreement with Judah, with King Ahaz, there had to be some type of covenant made, right? But the Lord is warning us, with dealing with your enemy, they will speak sweetly as if they got your back, but they will break their covenant. Go ahead.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. But war was in his heart.
But what?
But war was in his heart.
But war be in their heart. War be in their mind. It's a strategy. It's strategic. I'm going to earn your trust. Just to, what they call it today, backdoor you.
Right.
Right? Go ahead.
His words were softer than oil. Yet were they drawn swords.
Yet were they drawn swords. Go to Sirach 12 and 10. Sirach chapter 12 and verse 10.
The book of Sirach, chapter 12 and verse 10.
Go ahead.
Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
So the Bible teaches us, do not trust your enemy. Do not trust the people, that other nations that would be jealous of your land. You understand? That's already willing to go against your own people. Listen, if they will do what they joining with you to do against your brothers, what the hell you think they'll do to you? You understand? So the Lord never trust your enemy. And as we read on, it's going to explain why. Jump down to verse 16.
Verse 16.
Come on.
An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips.
Just like we read in Psalms 55. Go ahead.
But in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit.
But they really plotting against you whole time. Go ahead.
He will weep with his eyes.
Uh-huh.
But if he find opportunity,
read.
He will not be satisfied with blood.
Go ahead.
If adversity come upon thee.
Like, you got to think, Judah, who is the smaller kingdom anyway, got the northern kingdom and the heathen army of Syria coming down upon them. And they got the people of Judah on their side. So adversity is upon Ahaz for sure. Go ahead.
Thou shalt find him there first.
So you're going to find the Assyrians there first. Read.
And though he pretend to help thee.
The what?
He pretend to help thee.
So what was Tiglath-Pileser doing to Ahaz? Pretending to help him. Go ahead.
Yet shall he undermine thee.
Yet shall he undermine thee. So that's what we're going to read about today. Go to 2 Chronicles 28, verse 17. Second Chronicles 28, verse 17.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 28 and verse 17. For again, the Edomites had come and smitten Judah and carried away captives.
Right. So, again, we got, remember what we just read in Sirach, right? If adversity come upon thee. So, Ahaz is dealing with problems, issues from all ends, right? Remember, northern kingdom is north of Judah, right? As well as Syria. So they coming up on the north border. Then the Edomites, Esau, the land of Edom, was south of Judah. So you got enemies coming from the southern border. Now watch this. Read on.
The Philistines also had invaded the cities of the low
Now
countries.
the Philistines was like southwest. So you got the west/southwest. You got the south. You got the north. All of them closing in on you. You understand? And the Edomites, it said they was carrying away captives. They was carrying Judah captive. You understand? And then the Philistines also had their what?
Invaded the cities of the low country and of the south of Judah.
Read.
And had taken Beth Shemesh and Elion and Gederoth and Shokah with the villages thereof. And Timnah with the villages thereof.
Read.
Gizmo also in the villages thereof. And they dwelt there.
So just to put it into perspective, give me the map during the kingdom of Uzziah. Put that on the screen. So Uzziah is the father of Ahaz. Remember what I said. Uzziah and Jeroboam II, when they was in rulership, they expanded the borders of the two kingdoms. All right? Come on, put it on the screen. So when you look at Judah, right? Judah, south of Judah is where you see a lot of that blue, was formerly Edom territory, but Uzziah conquered it, took a lot of that. And also you can see to the west or to the left where it say Philistia, right? The purple outline, but it's blue, Go up. Yeah, to the left. So that purple, where the purple outline is, but it's blue, is where Uzziah managed to conquer from the Philistines that belonged to us anyway, right? So, as I said, it was expansion. Uzziah was kicking Edom and the Philistines behind, all right? But now his son Ahaz getting the power, and this is happening. Go to the next image. All right. So the cities that was just named are those red little asterisk things, right? So that border that we saw, that little purple outline in which Uzziah was able to conquer, those same cities the Philistines are now capturing. You understand? And also when you scroll down some, you see the land of Edom, you see that arrow? So now go to the next image. Watch this. We're going to come back to that one. So remember the kingdom of Uzziah map. Where you see the kingdom of Edom, Uzziah had took all of that. To the left, the west, with the Philistine states, especially like that northern half portion, Uzziah took all of that. Guess what? You looking at the kingdom of Ahaz, that's all the land and territory that he lost to his enemies. So the kingdom of Judah was being minimized. You understand? The kingdom of Judah was being minimized. But, as I said, Ahaz, you know, he didn't trust in the Lord. He didn't go to the Lord. All right? So now, go back to 2 Chronicles, read verse 19.
Verse 19.
Uh-huh.
For the Lord brought Judah low because of Ahaz, king of Israel.
So the Lord allowed the enemies to triumph over us, the Philistines, the Edomites, because of Ahaz, king of Israel, because he was wicked. Go ahead.
For he made Judah naked and transgressed sore against the Lord.
So let's see what that means. Let's go to Lamentations chapter 1. It ain't saying that he turned the Judites into Magic City and made them all strip. All right, let's see what it means. He made Judah naked. Lamentations 1 verse 8.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 1 and verse 8.
Go ahead.
Jerusalem have grievously sinned.
Jerusalem is the southern kingdom. The capital, just like we read, the head of Ephraim is Samaria. The head of Judah is Jerusalem. So Jerusalem has grievously sinned. Come on.
Therefore, she is removed.
Therefore, the people of Jerusalem are removed. This is prophetic. They're going to be carried away captive. Go ahead.
All that honored her despise her.
All the nations that honor Jerusalem now despise her. Go ahead.
Because they have seen her nakedness.
Because they what?
They have seen her nakedness.
They have seen her nakedness. Read.
Yea, she signeth and turneth backward.
She sigheth and turneth backward. Go ahead.
Her filthiness is in her skirts.
Uh-huh.
She remembereth not her last end.
Read.
Therefore, she came down wonderfully.
She came down wonderfully. She came down from rulership, prestige, and influence to slaves, to the temple and everything being laid desolate. That's what Jeremiah is prophesying. Go ahead.
She had no comforter. O Lord, behold my affliction. For thy enemies have magnified himself.
Right. So that's what the nakedness is going into. You understand? Them going into sin, grievously sinning against God. So now let's go back. Let's go to 2 Kings now. 2 Kings chapter 16. So as y'all know, Chronicles and Kings are cross references of the same account. So you're going to get different details. All right. So 2 Kings 16 and verse 10 about Ahaz. Come on.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 16 and verse 10.
So we read in Chronicles 28 and 16 on how he went to Assyria to help him in this time of distress of the northern kingdom coming against him, the Syrians, Edomites, and Philistines, right? So now read this.
And King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and saw an altar that was at Damascus. And King Ahaz sent to Remaliah the priest the fashion of the altar, and the pattern of it, according to all the workmanship thereof.
So Ahaz had to travel, right, to meet up with King Tiglath-Pileser, and he saw an altar that the Assyrians had. Now, mind you, when you read the history in the book of Exodus, the outline, and also dealing with King Solomon, the Lord gave the vision for how he wanted these things to be constructed, the design, the layout, so on and so forth. So Ahaz goes to visit Assyria to meet with Tiglath-Pileser, and he sees the heathen's altar. And he sends for Uriah, right? Uriah, the priest, to inquire of the fashion of how Assyrian has done their altar. Now, their altar is not to the Most High God of Israel. You understand? So it's a pagan altar that he's inquiring of how to replicate it in Jerusalem. Go ahead.
And Uriah the priest built an altar according to all that King Ahaz had sent from Damascus. So Uriah the priest made it against King Ahaz came from Damascus. And when the king was come from Damascus, the king saw the altar, and the king approached to the altar and offered thereon.
Go ahead.
And he burnt his burnt offering and his meat offering, and poured his drink offering, and sprinkled the blood of his peace offering upon the altar.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought also the brassen altar, which was before the Lord from the forefront of the house, from between the altar and the house of the Lord, and put it on the north side of the altar.
Go ahead.
And King Ahaz commanded Uriah the priest, saying, upon the great altar, burn the morning burnt offering, and the evening meat offering, and the king's burnt sacrifice, and his meat offering, with the burnt offering of all the people of the land, and their meat offering, and their drink offerings, and the sprinkle upon it all the blood of the burnt offering, and all the blood of the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And the brassen altar shall be for me to inquire by thus Uriah the priest, according to all the King Ahaz commanded.
All right. So it says, thus did Uriah the priest according to all that King Ahaz commanded. So let's get the Bible Hub to explain what's going on. All right. Pull it up. Scroll down to Jameson commentary. All right. Let's read that.
Jameson Fawcett Brown Bible Commentary. And King Ahaz went to the Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser.
Mm-hmm.
This was a visit of respect and perhaps of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
During his stay in that heathen city,
In that heathen city, come on.
Ahaz, where you go? Ahaz saw an altar with which he was greatly captivated, for with a sketch of it was transmitted to Jerusalem, with orders to Uriah the priest to give one constructed according to the Damascus model.
Mm-hmm.
And let this new altar supersede the old one in the temple.
So let this new altar that he saw in his heathen city that captivated him, let that supersede the old one in the temple that was from the Lord's vision for it. Go ahead.
Uriah, with culpable compliance, acted according to the instructions.
Uh-huh.
The sin in this affair consisted in the meddling with in improving according to human taste and fancy.
According to what?
Human taste and fancy.
Come on.
The altars of the temple, the patterns of which had been furnished by divine authority.
Been furnished by divine authority. And they get a precepts, like I said, in Exodus from the time of Moses all the way up to the time of Solomon. The Lord gave the vision, the layout, the blueprint, the architecture in terms of the altar. And he saw the Assyrians, what the Assyrians had. It was like, nah, this better. We gonna do this. What they constructed to their gods, that's how we gonna serve our God. Go ahead.
Uriah was one of the witnesses taken by Isaiah to bear his prediction against Syria and Israel.
So now let's go to 2 Chronicles 28 and verse 20. So that ain't all now. That ain't all that Ahaz did in terms of the temple. All right, let's read that real quick.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 28 and verse 20.
So remember what we read in Psalms 55, Sirach 12. Never trust your enemy. He'll act like he your friend, pretend to help you, but really on some, trying to undermine you, right? So read that.
And Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, came unto him and distressed him, but strengthened him not.
So the king of Assyria came, he met with Ahaz, but he didn't come and help him. He distressed him. In order to get a powerful military on your side that really has no stock in helping you, what do you have to do? You have to pay him. You understand? Which, think about it, you are already suffering. The Edomites smiting you, carrying your people captive. The Philistines destroying the border cities, they encroaching upon your land. You losing territory. And you got two nations banded together coming against you from the northern borders. So you imagine all the military distress. You understand the economic suffering that's already taking place. And you trying to get a nation that has no type of blood relationship, no type of real alliance with you outside of what you have to offer them financially. So Assyria put Ahaz in distress. All right? So watch this, 2 Kings 16 and 17. Let's look into it. Let's look at what Ahaz did in his distress to try to pay for Assyria's assistance. Read that.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 16 and verse 17.
Go ahead.
And King Ahaz cut off the borders of the bases and removed the lever from off of them and took down the sea from off the brass and oxen that were under it and put it upon the pavement of stones.
Read.
And the covert of the Sabbath that he had built in the house, and the king's entry without, turned he from the house of the Lord.
Turned he from the house of the Lord. So these are all precious things and elements that was worth money. He took from the house of the Lord for what?
Turned he from the house of the Lord for the king of Assyria.
For the who?
For the king of Assyria.
So he literally basically robbed what was invested into the temple in order to pay, to fund the assistance of the Assyrians. Tiglath-Pileser is finessing Ahaz. You understand? He got him taken. Now you think it's already jacked up because the Lord don't want you to make no damn cover. He don't want you to seek to the heathen for help anyway. But now you taking from his temple to fund their help for you. This is going bad. That's why I say Isaiah was warning. Ahaz and the people of Judah, both of y'all headed to destruction. Assyria is going to be used to jack y'all ass up. You understand? Like I said, we think about Assyria, we think about just what they did to the northern kingdom. Before they did what they did to the northern kingdom, the Lord used them to chastise Judah. All right? So now let's go to 2 Chronicles 28, verse 21.
The book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 28 and verse 21.
Come on.
For Ahaz took away a portion out of the house of the Lord.
So Kings was the detailed version of what we just read, that sentence. He took, what did it say, the altar, the sea, the things of that nature. You read about that in detail during the time of Solomon. In 1 Kings, I believe it's chapter 4, 5, 6. We went into it. I forgot the name of that class, but it was during the Kings of Israel series. So he took away a portion from the house of the Lord. That's some wicked stuff right there. You understand? That's tempting the hell out of the Lord. He took away a portion from the house of the Lord. Come on.
And out of the house of the king and of the princes, and gave it unto the king of Assyria.
He gave that as a gift to the king of Assyria. Go ahead.
But he helped him not.
But the king of Assyria didn't help him. Damn. Never trust your enemy. Finessing his ass. Go ahead.
And in the time of his distress did he trespass yet more against the Lord.
So in the time of his distress, being attacked from all borders, all angles by the nations and the brothers, the northern kingdom, he still didn't turn to the Lord. He trying to do everything but turn to the Lord. Go ahead.
This is that king Ahaz.
This is that king Ahaz. Come on.
For he sacrificed unto the gods of Damascus.
Damn. Read. So that altar that he was influenced by, you can't sit up there and take the layout and the whatever from altar dedicated to another god and say, I'm gonna use that to serve my God. No, he ended up reverencing the gods to whom that altar was made for. You understand? This goes back to verse 19. He made Judah naked. Go ahead.
Which smote him. And he said,
Read that again.
For he sacrificed unto the gods of Damascus, which smote him.
So the same gods of these nations that was jacking his ass up, that's who he was sacrificing to. Go ahead.
And he said, because of the gods of the kings of Assyria, help them. Therefore will I sacrifice to them, that they may help me.
You can't make this up. This is the idiotic thought process of the Negro. Remember in 2 Chronicles 25, if I'm not mistaken, King Amaziah, who was the father of Uzziah, he told the Edomites' ass up and then went and served their gods. Why would you serve their gods if you just kicked their ass? We jacked up in the head, bruh. He say, look, their gods is helping them against me, so let me get on their God's good side against them. How did that work? How did that compute? Why not just serve your own damn God? You understand? So when we go through this history, y'all, it puts it into perspective as to why we had to go into captivity. For real. It makes sense now. You be like, damn, you read the curses, you read the judgments and all that. You be like, damn, we was having to eat our own kids and the famine and the, you know what I'm saying, the destruction. We forced the Lord's hand, man. When we had our own land, we had our own kingdom and authority, we was some real deal niggas, man. We despite all the warnings, when you read Isaiah, Amos, Hosea, Micah, all majority of these brothers, before you read about Zechariah and Haggai and all of them that was actually in captivity, most of these prophets was before actual captivity. You understand? And they was warning the kings during that time, like, listen, I'm telling you, Jerusalem gonna become a desolation. Samaria gonna be destroyed. Stop, repent, turn back to the Most High God. But they went and turned to the enemy's gods. You understand? It's crazy. We begged God to destroy us. We begged the Most High God to send us into captivity. For real. Go ahead.
But they were the ruin of him and of all Israel.
So these guys that he sacrificed to was the ruin of Ahaz and the entire nation of Israel. Go ahead.
And Ahaz gathered together the vessels of the house of God, and cut in pieces the vessels of the house of God, and shut up the doors of the house of the Lord, and he made him altars in every corner of Jerusalem.
Damn, come on.
In every several city of Judah, he made high places to burn incense unto other gods.
This nigga the damn devil. Come on.
And provoked to anger the Lord God of his fathers.
So you got to think, your enemies are already jacking you up from every side, from every angle. And then you piss God off, you tweaking. You tweaking. Now, remember, let's switch back to Remaliah's son. Let's go back to 2 Kings chapter 15. And let's read verse 29.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 15 and verse 29.
So the northern kingdom, they not innocent in all of this. The Lord had it out for them already, right? So remember, all Isaiah let Ahaz know the Lord is gonna deal with them. Just trust in the Lord. You don't have to go and make confederacies with other nations or whatever. The Lord is going to deal with them. You understand? And that was going to come to pass regardless. But because Ahaz did not believe, get there real quick because we got to read it. Isaiah chapter, I believe it's chapter 8. If you don't believe, you won't be established. Or it might be chapter 7. This is what Isaiah was talking about. Isaiah 7 and 8.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 7 and verse 8.
Go ahead.
For the head of Syria is Damascus.
The head, meaning the capital of Syria, is Damascus. Come on.
In the head of Damascus, Rezin.
Right. The king of Damascus that sits on the throne there is Rezin. Go ahead.
And within 65 years.
Within 65 years, read.
Shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people.
They're not going to be a kingdom anymore. You understand? They're going to be completely, what's the word? Cast out. Go ahead.
And moreover, in the head of Ephraim is Samaria. In the head of Samaria is Remaliah's son.
Read.
If ye will not believe.
If you will not believe, if you don't believe what I just told you, that the Lord going to deal with them, go ahead.
Surely ye shall not be established.
And that's what happened. He said, no, I need the Assyrians. I need Tiglath-Pileser. I need TP. So his ass wasn't established. You understand? So he got dealt with too. Judah got judged too. But that did not liberate the northern kingdom from the judgment that was already ordained for them. All right? So this is the beginning of the fall of the northern kingdom. So let's go back to 2 Kings 15:29.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 15, in verse 29.
And when I say beginning of the fall, in reference to the Assyrians carrying them away captive, because we went over in I believe the last class and the class before about the different matter of fact, the name of the class was the downward spiral of the Northern Kingdom monarchy. All right, so that was the, post Jeroboam II, it started to go haywire. You understand? But in terms of Assyria wiping them out, this is the beginning of that. So read that.
Verse 29. In the days of Pekah, king of Israel, came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and took Lion in Abel, Beth Makkah, in Jonah, in Kadesh, in Hazar, in Gilead, in Galilee, all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive to Assyria.
Right. So that's not the whole northern kingdom. It's just the pieces. All right. This was step one, just like with Babylon. It was 3 sieges. You understand? Assyria did multiple waves as well. So this was the first one during the time of Pekah. Go ahead.
And Hoshea, the son of Elah, made a conspiracy against Pekah, the son of Remaliah, and smote him, and slew him, and reigned in his stead in the 20th year of Jotham, the son of Uzziah.
So, pull up the map real quick. What's the map? Yeah, pull it up for me. All right. So, as you can see, that purple outline. And the green was the land of Israel prior to what we just read. So, that was the first wave where the purple outline is. The green inside of it is what Assyria took during this wave. All right? So you see Gilead right there to the right, that whole region, and then to the left you see Hazor, Megiddo, Jezreel. Within that right there, Assyria took all of that. 2 Kings 15:29. That was the first wave. All right. So now let's read Who's Who in the Bible, page 311. It's right there. And I want the third paragraph, page 311. It should be on the page, bruh. Okay. Start at the third paragraph.
Yes, sir. Pekah, 18th king of Israel. After the monarchy split, he reigned 737-2 BC. Pekah, the son
Jump
of
down to the third paragraph.
in 733 BC, the Assyrians' force of Tiglath-Pileser III invaded Israel from the north, breaking through the line of forts guarding the upper Jordan Valley and occupying Galilee. In the coastal region, the invaders annexed the occupied territories and converted them into 3 Assyrian provinces, with governors stationed at Megiddo, Dor for the coast.
So it say what? Read that part again.
With governors stationed at Megiddo.
With governors stationed at Megiddo. Put that back on the screen real quick, just so y'all can see. Can you zoom in on Megiddo? All right. So just to get an idea, go ahead.
Dor for the coast in Gilead.
So Dor for the coast. You see on the coast right there by the Mediterranean Sea. D-O-R. You see that? Go ahead.
In Gilead, east of the Jordan River.
In Gilead, east of the Jordan River. Go. You see that? The Jordan River? Nuh-uh. You see that? East of it, meaning to the right, is Gilead. Go ahead.
Many of the inhabitants of these territories were taken away to Assyria as captives.
So they carried within that green, behind the purple line, northward, they took Northern Kingdom brothers and sisters captive. All right, so that was the first wave of Northern Kingdom going into captivity to Assyria. Come on.
All that was left intact of Israel was the capital, Samaria, and the hill region of Ephraim round it.
Right. So where you see under the purple line, Samaria, that's the region of Samaria. That in with Tirzah, Shechem, Bethel, so on and so forth. That's all that was left. Go ahead.
This remnant of Israelite independence was to be finally wiped out a decade later.
Right. So we're going to read about that next time with Hoshea. Go ahead.
Pekah did not survive the disastrous outcome of his challenge to Assyrian power.
Read.
He was murdered and exceeded by Hoshea, son of Allah, who reverted to the policy of submission to Assyria.
Right, who reverted to the policy of submission to Syria. So hold on real quick. Let's go back to 2 Kings 15. Read 30.
The book of 2 Kings, chapter 15 and verse 30. In Hoshea, the son of Allah.
So Hoshea, the son of Allah, go ahead.
Made a conspiracy against Pekah, the son of Remaliah, and smote him and slew him and reigned in his stead.
Now jump up to verse 25.
Verse 25. But Pekah, the son of Remaliah, a captain of his conspired against him and smote him in Samaria, in the place of the king's house, with Argob in Ariah, and with him 50 men of the Gileadites, and he killed him and reigned in his room.
Y'all see what happened here? Galatians 6 verse 7. So the same thing, that the same way that he got the throne was the same way that he lost it. You understand? He conspired against the king, smote him, slew him, reigned in his stead. That was the beginning of his story and the end of his story. But he was on the receiving end in the latter. I read that.
The book of Galatians, chapter 6, and verse 7.
Come on.
Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he reap.
So read that again.
Be not deceived.
Uh-huh.
God is not mocked.
God is not mocked. You not finna it's all spiritual. And it's crazy, like you reading about this and you just saw how unspiritual the Israelites was. They thought that they could play the Game of Thrones, bruh. You understand? They really thought they could. Oh, I'm just going to kill this person and backstab him and get the throne and have power. No, it was ordained lineages. It was obedience required and so on and so forth for the prosperity of God's king. Who the hell you think you heathens? You understand? It don't work like that. So every time you thought you was going to finesse your way to the throne and backstab and conspire, and they didn't learn the lessons from their forefathers. You understand? It always came back around and happened to them. All right, so as I said, and it's crazy because we went over the class with Jeroboam II and Uzziah. Those two kings, Northern Kingdom was always wicked. But when they expanded their land, the Lord allowed them because of the prayers aforetime. The Lord said, okay, I'm going to give you victory over Assyria. So the Lord allowed them to regain all that ground in Assyria that Syria had taken. But when they did it, they just was partying and having orgies and parties and, you know what I'm saying, and just doing everything wronger. And then Uzziah, you understand, he was good, he was solid. But, you know, he had his episode where he snapped and God made him a white boy. His son was good too, you know what I'm saying? But the people was poisoned. They was influenced by the Northern Kingdom, and they had, you know, idolatry here and there, and he wasn't able to fully exterminate that. So when Ahaz got into power, they just went left. It said he made Judah naked, and they were busting it wide open to the point where they turned against him. It was like, we want Northern Kingdom power over us. You understand? So the Lord went from expanding our borders to back during the time of David and Solomon to back right to minimizing our black ass. So Assyria, they took a large portion of Northern Kingdom land from Megiddo, the Jordan River, eastward, on up. And remember with Judah, the Edomites took a lot of their land back on the southern border and the Philistines on that western coast. So, you know, yeah, for real, the judgment is real. The mercy was real, and the judgment is also real. That's our God. That's our God. All right, so all praise to the Most High. Lord's willing, y'all was edified. That was Remaliah's son versus Ahaz part 2. We had to finish that thing to show y'all how they feud against one another resulted in ultimately judgment upon the entire nation of Israel. And Northern Kingdom is headed into full-fledged captivity. All right, they got a decade left on their clock of occupation in the land, period. All right, and the Southern Kingdom, you know, the Lord got promises and things of that nature, you know, so yeah, y'all gonna see how they get a space of redemption. All right, but y'all gotta tune in for that. All right, but that's gonna wrap it up for today. Remaliah's son versus Ahaz part 2. Subscribe to IUIC Arkansas. Subscribe to Let's Talk Truth Radio, and just be on the lookout, man. Lord's willing, we'll be back soon to continue in the Kings of Israel series. All right, shalom, Most High, Christ bless.
It's gonna be something you're not used to. You know what I mean?
You are now flying.
So
Allow me to reintroduce myself. There come around times when I lose myself, then I bruise myself. I can't relax, I'm losing breath. It's like I went ahead and swallowed blue pills to death. But goddamn, man, it's draining all my energy. I'm becoming like my enemies. The devil came and then he entered me. Gotta activate my energy. God, have to repent and then activate God. Fasting and praying, then activate God. Changing my ways, get counseling, studying, praying, applying, and oh my God, gotta convert, transform into my prime diverse. Like rapping into sinking, what a progress that I'm making. No more dollars, cause I'm changing. Morphing time, I'm power ranging. You can't be the same you were before. If you gon' stick around, gotta change your ways, be born again. If you gon' get your crown, man, you want to go and pray. But before you do, yeah, first you got to change. Change, yeah, change, 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 yeah, change.